Hi, this is Rita with Everything Homemade, and this is the second video in a three-part series. So if you haven't seen the first one we actually open up the dehydrated brown rice sourdough culture that you purchased. And I go step by step on how to hydrate it, how to grow that beautiful culture, and that's where the video ends. So it's just showing you how to get it going, and I take you step by step. This video follows it and how to maintain it. Some of the most questions that I get about sourdough is maintaining it. What do I do? Do I have to feed it every day? Can I go for holidays for a week or two? What do I do? What happens if I forget to feed my culture and it is stressed out? What is that gross, disgusting liquid on top? What about the smell that it is given off? How do I save my culture? Can I scrape off the mold on the top, or should I discard the whole thing? How do I feed my culture? Those are the questions just right off the top of my head that I get asked all the time. So this video is so important for you to watch because I will answer all of it and not just verbally tell you. We're gonna look at some culture. So what I have is I have a culture, my brown rice happy healthy sourdough culture that I've just taken out of the fridge. It is a little bit too full in the jar. As you can see, I don't got a lot of head space, so we need to take some out, which is called discard, and we need to give it a fresh feeding. And this would just be like your average feeding you would do once a week. Then I'm going to show you what to do with a poor culture that is all stressed out. And I will go further into this one in a moment. And then on the third video, we're gonna make some brown rice sourdough pancakes. We're going to cook together and enjoy the fruits of our labor. So first thing is, let's dive right into this. Let's first look at a very stressed culture compared to a very happy and healthy culture. Now you will notice that if you are used to whole wheat sourdough, the liquid on top will look different than what you're gonna see here. What you're gonna see here is a whole more slime than you are a brownish black liquid that a whole wheat culture looks like when it's stressed out. Because we're dealing with brown rice, it's like comparing apple and oranges. Some things are the same, they're both fruits. They both grow on trees, but other than that, it is not the same. Same as sourdough is sourdough. There's bubbles, it's living culture, but one is brown rice and one is whole wheat, and they act differently in how they look when they're stressed out. So I just want to make a note of that, especially if you are familiar with that whole wheat sourdough and you're going on to, let's say, brown rice. So let's take a look at the culture, and I'm so excited to show you because I just love cultures. I find them fun, thrilling, and pretty cool to work with. Okay, so what I have here is really a very simple setup. I have a bowl in the background here that's just gonna have my wooden spoon, and I have a bowl here so I'm not, making a mess on my counter. I also have another bowl for discard because all the discard we're gonna be taking out from these guys, I want to keep to make those delicious pancakes. You never wanna throw discard away, okay? Never, never, never. And then I just got a measuring cup here. I do have a spoon here, and I have some rice flour. In the picture off to the side right here is just water, which does not contain any chlorine. Okay, so like I said, very basic setup here. Okay, so I'm going to take the lids off of both of these cultures. And let's get a close-up. So this one right here is the happy, healthy looking one. You can see it bubbly on top. You can see some liquid settled, no big deal, but it is really super healthy. Let's just take a look on the side here, and you can see the bubbles throughout it. It is looking really good. The problem with this culture is if I feed it again, there's not much head space, so I'm not going to want to feed it without taking some discard out. Otherwise, it would rise over the top and make a big mess, or worse, break my jar because of the CO2 buildup. Okay, compared to this culture, I've actually purposely stressed it out. It has a lot of liquid on top. It does have some bubbles, which is fine, but if you take a look at it from the top, you'll notice it looks completely different, okay? It also has a more alcoholic smell. I know you can't smell through the video, but it does. It's way more alcoholic. Plus it has this like little bit of slime. I'm just gonna move it a little bit. You can see that bubble right there, that's CO2, and there's quite a bit of liquid on top. It is discolored as well. Now, definitely not like a whole wheat where it's really gray, black, or brownish color. This one has more slime, as I'll call it. Those white flecks are kind of slimy residue on top. It's not mold, but it's definitely screaming at you going, hey lady, like hello, I need to eat. And I'm sorry, little culture, but I had to use you as an example. And we're gonna make this one a very happy culture right away. So that is what happens when you leave it and you neglect it. Okay, it doesn't look great. It looks sad, and it looks sad, and there's a lot of liquid on top. And again, let's take a look at this happy and healthy one. You can see those beautiful bubbles. There is some settling, but it is so healthy looking and ready to be fed and continue to multiply, and so forth and so on. So let's start with this bad culture at first. Let's correct it, and then we'll move on. So I'm just going to put a lid on this happy culture for a moment and just set it off to the side, and let's focus on this one. First of all, I'm going to just pour off this top liquid. Just because it's more alcoholic, let's get rid of it. And again, you can see those white specks. That's kind of the slime that's forming on top. Let's just get rid of that. Okay, now we are left with something that looks like this. And let's give it a quick mix. Okay, so now it looks something like this. Okay, I can really smell that sourdough. Like, it is really strong, really ripe, and it definitely needs a good feeding. So let's give it a half a cup of water here. And we're gonna just do a 1-to-1 ratio. We're gonna do a half a cup of water to a half a cup of brown rice flour. So let's add that water in there. And then we are going to add some wonderful fresh flour. And if you're just watching this video and not my first one, in the first video I showed you how to make, or how to mill. In the first video, I showed you how to make your own brown rice flour, so definitely check that out. If you don't know or are buying brown rice flour, you can definitely make your own. So just mix it up. And that's a beautiful consistency. It should be like a thick pancake batter. If you take a look at that, it runs off the spoon, but in kind of in clumps off the spoon. Get that mixed together. Beautiful. And so what I would do here is I would leave it now for 12 hours. After 12 hours, do a 1/4 cup of water and a 1/4 cup of flour, feed it again, and then put it in the fridge, and then feed it once a week after that, and your culture should be right back up where you need it. So that's what I would do here, and you would have no problem. It'll come back just fine. So that's how you fix this one. I mean, it's just a matter of giving it food, Get rid of that extra alcoholic water on top, mix it up, and you're good to go. The problem that you're gonna have is if there is mold. Let's say that this jar was moldy all around here. Let's say, you know, orange, green, purple, black, white, anything like that, mold around your jar. Then you need to discard your whole batch, because those spores go down into your culture and you can't just scoop it out, okay? You can't just take your spoon and go, oh, I'll get that little bit, and oh, come on, I'll get this little bit to save it. It's not gonna happen. It's all penetrated in here. So your mold is gonna affect the whole entire thing, and the only way to fix it is to start over. So do not keep mold. There's a difference between super alcoholic and a little bit of slime on top because of it fermenting than mold. Okay, you can have a strong alcoholic smell, but as long as it's not mold. Okay, so there's a big difference there. So this culture, like I said, leave it on the counter for 12 hours out of direct sunlight. Feed it again with a 1/4 cup of fresh flour with a 1/4 cup of water. Put it in the fridge. Then from there, continue to feed it once a week. Okay, so again, my lid is just on. I can release the gases, and let's set this one aside. Now, let's take a look at our really healthy culture here. So I don't want to discard anything of the liquid on top. That's all good, and you can see the slightest bit of movement. Look at all those bubbles! Look, look, look! Bubbles, bubbles, bubbles. Okay, anyway, I just have way too much fun here. Okay, I'm gonna mix it up. Mix it right up. Oh, and it's just beautiful, and it just, oh, it smells so fresh, so wonderful. Okay, so I got it mixed, and I'm like, okay, my recipe calls for, let's say, a couple of tablespoons of culture. Let's just go with that. So I'm going to start baking. I got my bowl. I'm gonna go, okay, I need a couple of tablespoons. Well, there's 1 tablespoon, and there's another tablespoon. Okay, now I can follow the rest of my recipe. You just took 2 tablespoons out of there, okay? So what you wanna do now is whatever you take out, you put back in. So you wanna put a couple of tablespoons of water in, so you can measure it. 1, 2 tablespoons of water back in with a couple of tablespoons of your brown rice in. Now I'm just gonna use a 1/2 tablespoon because my other one's wet. So I'm just gonna go like this. So there is 1 tablespoon and 2 tablespoons, okay, of flour in there, and we mix it up. And now you fed your culture and just put it back in the fridge. You do not need to keep it out because this is an active, healthy culture. You don't need to keep it out. It'll multiply slow enough and in the fridge and eat that up with ease. So you got that going. Okay, well, what if, oh man, I just been gone on holidays. I just been gone just for a week. I come back and my sourdough culture, there's not much headspace, and I gotta feed it, but I need to feed it like a 1/2 cup because it just hasn't been fed. You know, I didn't use it all week, so I just need to give it a good feeding. What do I do? Well, super simple. Take your culture, take half of it out. That's about half, okay? Look at all them bubbles. You see how healthy that is? Take it out, okay? Use some paper towel. I'll clean that up in a moment. No problem. Okay, so you removed some of the culture, which is gonna make space now for this to multiply with a fresh feeding. So we're gonna get that culture to multiply, but it needs room. So we just made a whole bunch of room. So what you need to do is get a 1/2 cup of water. Get it in there. Again, 1-to-1 ratio. 1/2 cup of flour. In there we go. Bam! Mix it. I just fed my culture. Just like that. Beautiful. And now you can just put it in the fridge. Because you only left it for a week's nothing. It'll come back really good in the fridge and be active. You don't need to leave it on your counter. Bam, you fed your culture. Just like that. Okay, now it's ready to go for another week and so forth. So whatever you take out, you put back. If you need to do a big feeding, get rid of half of it, add in that half a cup and flour, half a cup of water, and continue to maintain it like that. And here we have a beautiful bowl with starter in it, ready to get turned into pancakes. The beautiful thing is that you can do so much with the discard. Pancakes and crepes are one of my favorite recipes to use for discard. My kids go all crazy over it, so we're gonna make something out of this. Never throw away your discard, never. I am writing a whole wheat sourdough cookbook called Everything Sourdough. It's all with whole wheat, but I will be working in the future on a brown rice sourdough cookbook, just geared to gluten-free sourdough. I didn't want to put them together because the two worlds, the two different cultures, you have to make completely different recipes. So I'm doing the whole wheat one first, but my plan is to do a brown rice one as well. So right now I'm just gonna show you a quick recipe to use this discard up. That's really easy to do. And then what you wanna do is, you take your culture right now, put it in the fridge, and then wait for the next time you bake. One of the most important things is to feed your culture once a week. Get it fed once a week. Whether that means you take discard out, whether that means you bake with it, but feed it once a week. And if you're gone on holidays for 2 weeks, you definitely can leave it in the fridge. It'll be stressed out a bit, but definitely can last. But if you're going for months, get a neighbor, get a friend, see if they can, feed it, show them this video. It's really simple, and let them, take over your sourdough culture for you. So that really shows you how to maintain it, what to do when it's being neglected, and how to take care of it for years to come. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you're interested and haven't ordered your brown rice sourdough culture, definitely check out our website at everything-homemade.com. Okay, see you on the next video.